I will never, ever vote for another Republican in my life until they come on and rebuke Trump and everything that has gone on. It just disgusts me. I would vote for Mickey Mouse before I voted for Trump. My name is Elizabeth. I live in Texas. I voted for Trump the first time. For the Republican Party to move forward and to believe that, all of this is okay. Everything, all the criminal action, believing that the vote was stolen. It even sickens me more. I will never, ever vote for another Republican in my life until they come on and rebuke Trump and everything that has gone on. It just disgusts me. I would vote for Mickey Mouse before I voted for Trump. He definitely wants to be a dictator. He is a coward, and I just can't believe that all of his lies, that people do not see that. I just don't understand it. So I will not be voting for Trump, and I will not vote for another Republican in my life, no matter what, until the Republican Party stands up and talks against him.
Can somebody explain to me in crayon eating terms why I make over 3 times the federal minimum wage and I cannot afford to live?
Explain it.
I do not want to hear the pull yourself up from your bootstraps, work 90 hours a week. That's not the goal, guys.
No, it's not the goal.
That
should not
be our standard.
Agreed. Should not be our standard.
I'm fucking tired of people being complacent with this uniparty, both of them fucking us over. When my parents were my age, they both made less than half of what I make, and they lived alone. I cannot afford to live anywhere alone. A 1-bedroom apartment, $1,800. 2-bedroom apartment.
This generation is locked out of living on their own.
Who the fuck can afford that? It is embarrassing to come out and say that it is a struggle to survive right now. But
I'm sorry, dude. I feel for you.
People are struggling. And do not get me started on what my grandparents were doing. They $3,000 house. And yes, I understand inflation and all of the bullshit that they have been pulling with the Fed. Why are we allowing it?
Why are we allowing it?
And then I clock out of my shift. I am tired.
Big one coming up here.
I have to go home. And I check the news. Another 60 fucking billion to a country nobody can find out on a map. What are we doing? Where has the plot gone? We have lost it, folks. We have fucking lost it. The American dream is dead. It is
That's sad.
Gone.
That is sad.
Forgotten.
Y'all notice all these cattle ranchers up in arms today? They are suddenly mad because the beef market has dropped since Trump is talking about some Argentinian beef. Oh, now they're upset. Now they want to talk about save the American farmer, right? See, this is what happens when racism runs the economy instead of logic. They voted for a man who sold them a fantasy that their white skin was going to be economic policy, and that somehow legislating harm and voting for harm towards black, brown, and immigrant communities was going to bring back the good old days, right? When America was great. But here's the gag. Capitalism don't love y'all either, boo-boo. See, Trump is not loyal to the American farmers like y'all thought he was. He is loyal to profit margins. What happened to all that? Oh, he's a businessman. He's a businessman. Y'all were excited about that. And if it's cheaper to import beef from Argentina than to pay y'all's fair rate in Texas, Kansas, Ohio, wherever, then baby, he's gonna sign and seal that deal and watch y'all's family farm fold like a cheap lawn chair at the county fair. See, they thought voting for Trump meant putting others back in their place. All they did was put themselves in a chokehold of their own making. Because hey, when you vote for oppression, baby, you don't get to choose who gets crushed first. That ain't how that works. See, that's what I mean when I say racism is expensive. It costs the worker, it costs the farmer, it costs the nation. See, they didn't realize they were sacrificing their own economy to feed their hatred. And now they're on here crying about losing markets, losing subsidies, losing land. And I can't even muster up a tear. Where was all this worry when it was our communities losing everything? So to all the Make America Great Again farmers, baby, welcome to the America you built. The America you voted for. America where greed don't know color and baby loyalty don't pay. Cause Trump ain't y'all savior, baby.
Texas farmers are now outraged and they are angry about American struggle because they are bankrupt. They're going bankruptcy, you know. So Americans are really tired of Trump because Trump has failed them to the very core. And I feel for them. I feel how much they are suffering. They are struggling, calling out for help from the government that they are the one who are voting for. But now they are now regretting voting for Trump. I have clips here. Watch them. I'll come back with more commentary.
I regret voting for Trump. You guys told me I would, and here we are, just barely over a month after he was sworn in, and I have so many reasons, so many disappointments, and I've lost so many rights as a woman already. So I guess I'll just start listing the reasons why. So many rights gone as a woman. Starting with I mean, did I lose rights? I thought I did. See, I was told so many times by the left that I lost all of my rights because I'm a woman. So I thought for sure I did, but now that I'm trying to come up with a list, it's just not coming to the tip of my tongue here. I don't know. Maybe we'll try again after I do some research.
Yeah, I want to jump on the bandwagon of saying that I regret my vote for Trump. My whole family does. My husband and I own a farm in Ohio that was funded through the Inflation Reduction Act, which Biden signed into law. And now the executive orders from Trump are rolling back all of that funding for us. So now we can no longer afford our farm. And when all that happened, it was like a lightning bolt hit my brain. And I realized that I shouldn't just be voting for myself, that Trump's policies and EOs are hurting millions of people. But it took it affecting me personally to understand what I had done was wrong. And I think it's really important for anyone to come out who voted for him and is now negatively impacted by the executive orders, or maybe you have friends or family, especially in minority communities, who are being very heavily impacted by what's going on right now. So yeah, I think it's time for us to stop being so selfish maybe and to vote for what's best for the country instead of just in our tiny little bubble, because we're all in the same boat now and we're all equally screwed by our new president.
So I'm getting asked a lot lately, what was the final straw? What made me stop supporting Trump? And the truth is, it wasn't one thing. It was a slow, uncomfortable process of watching reality diverge from what he promised us and deciding whether I was going to follow the truth or protect my identity. In 2016, I was a lifelong Republican. I voted red my entire adult life. Trump wasn't my first choice. I actually supported Marco Rubio. I campaigned and invested. But when Trump became the nominee, I automatically got in line. And I want to be honest about why. At the time, I believed Republicans were better for the economy, better on taxes, better against corruption, and that Democrats were evil and couldn't be trusted. That wasn't because I'd done some deep research. It was because of the media I consumed, the voices that I trusted, and the environment that I lived in. I watched Fox News. I hated Democrats. I believed CNN and MSNBC were propaganda, and that conditioning made it easy to accept Trump, even when there were parts of him that made me uneasy. At the time, I was still active duty. I was senior enlisted, and I was coming up on 20 years. Ending the war in Afghanistan mattered to me deeply. It was my number one issue. I was done with forever wars. I was done with half measures and endless deployments with no clear end. I wanted a better future for the troops coming up behind me. Trump was the only candidate I believed would actually end it. And as much as ending the war mattered to me, so did how we engaged in war. I was already critical with drone strikes under Obama. I believe they removed accountability, normalized killing at a distance, and kept the public insulated from the cost of war. So when Trump came in, I expected restraint. Instead, within 2 years, drone strikes dramatically increased, doubling what Obama did in 8. And Trump revoked an executive order for reporting requirements on civilian casualties. Oversight was reduced, transparency disappeared. That did not sit well with me. Then came the border wall. I believed border security mattered, but I was never draconian about it. I expected legislation, something long-standing. After all, Trump won all three branches, but instead he took center stage. He tried to play hero instead of pressing for compromise in law. What I couldn't reconcile with was that Trump was diverting military funds to pay for the wall. Funds allocated for readiness, housing, and military construction were reprogrammed for a political project. That felt like betrayal. You don't claim to support the military while pulling resources from them to score political points. That's not strength, it was optics. And around that same time, his pattern toward veterans became impossible to ignore, calling fallen service members suckers and losers, repeatedly disparaging John McCain for being captured, mocking sacrifice, mocking service. That mattered to me just as much, because respect for service isn't about hero worship, it's about honoring the cost. And I watched a man demand loyalty, show none in return. And still, I somehow stayed longer than I should have. But the moment I truly stepped back was his first impeachment, when Trump pressured Zelensky and sought dirt on a political opponent. That was the final straw. Ever since I was a little kid, I had massive respect and admiration for the office of the presidency. The office is not a personal weapon. Using it for personal political gain was disheartening and maddening. What really snapped me out of it wasn't just Trump's actions. It was watching right-wing media completely downplay it, watching them make excuses, watching them align themselves with Trump personally instead of the integrity of the presidency itself. That was the moment I realized something deeper was wrong. Because if the presidency can be compromised and the media that claims to defend the Constitution rushes to protect the man instead of the office, then truth is no longer the priority. Loyalty is. That realization forced me to step back, and once I did, I couldn't stop seeing it. After the impeachment, what followed only reinforced my decision to step back. The Doha deal stripped away leverage in a way that set off every alarm I had. Trump negotiated directly with the Taliban, excluded the Afghan government, and agreed to release 5,000 Taliban prisoners. In return, we were promised conditions and security guarantees. Those conditions were violated almost immediately. 4 of the 5 mandated elements were broken, and there were no meaningful consequences. The reason this torqued me is because I had been critical of this exact behavior before. I was furious years earlier when Obama publicly discussed troop reductions and timelines. From an operational standpoint, that kind of signaling gives an enemy time to wait you out. It hands them information they can exploit. I didn't excuse it then, and I wasn't willing to excuse it now. Ending a war responsibly is not the same thing as announcing your exit and hoping for the best. And again, I watched right-wing media ignore it, downplay it, make excuses for behavior they were condemning Obama for years earlier. That's when the pattern became undeniable. The standard wasn't principle, it was loyalty. Then he fucked up the COVID response. There's no way to sugarcoat that. He downplayed deadly viruses, undermined experts, and politicized basic public health. And then I watched him ask about using the military against protesters. I watched him flirt with authoritarian responses to civil unrest then. I watched chaos when leadership was required. Then came January 6th. By that point, I already knew something was deeply wrong. The lies were clear, the patterns were clear, and the excuses were familiar. But January 6th was the moment that changed who I am. Because that day stripped away every remaining illusion. It showed what happens when lies are protected long enough, when accountability is delayed long enough, when people are taught that loyalty matters more than truth. It showed the end result of excusing behavior, minimizing corruption, and normalizing the abuse of power. January 6th wasn't a protest. It was a predictable outcome of years of conditioning people to reject reality in favor of identity. And what shook me the most wasn't only the violence, it was watching people who claim to love the Constitution rationalize its violation. Watching people who claim to support law and order excuse the attack on the very process that gives this country legitimacy. And watching people who claim to call themselves patriots turn their backs on the most basic democratic principle of all, the peaceful transfer of power. That's when silence stopped being an option for me, because I knew exactly how people got there. I knew the talking points. I knew the mental shortcuts. I knew the excuses because I had used versions of them myself. And I knew that if people like me didn't speak up, If we didn't name the hypocrisy and double standards honestly, the lie would keep spreading unchecked. January 6th didn't open my eyes. It did compel me to act. And that's why I speak up now. Not because it's comfortable and not because it's easy, but because truth became my anchor and facts became my guide. I don't care what party they lead to. I don't care what ideology they support. If my beliefs collide with reality, reality wins. And once you live that way, you can't go back. You can't unsee the manipulation. You can't ignore the excuses. You can't pretend that power protecting itself at the expense of democracy is normal. I'm not proud of everything I believed in the past.
You know, when it comes to poverty, Americans are now drowning in poverty. Americans don't like poverty, and nobody likes poverty either. And but Americans are the one who called for this poverty. They are the one who sworn in this poverty. They are the one who asked for this. They are the one who are voting for this. So there's no way they can come here and talk about not feeling good about what Trump is doing today, because they are the one who are voting Trump in. They know Trump will mess them up, but they didn't want to know how much will Trump mess them. They only thought about how much Trump will make some people suffer. That's black people to struggle. So American farmers are really struggling, and they are asking the government to help them. But who will be able to help them? I guess nobody, because the world is now raged. The world is raged, and I don't think that there is someone out there who is feeling their pain, because they are the one who knew what they were doing. The struggle they have been through, the warnings, the alarms, they were assuming them. All right? They tried, even Kamala Harris tried to warn them. They never given her a ear. Black people tried to warn them about Trump, but they were like, Trump is the best. Trump is the white man, and he can never take them through the struggle at all. But now they are seeing that some people who are trying to warn them, they were right about Trump. Because Trump has messed their life up. Trump has failed them to the very core. And there's no way they can recover. There's no way they can restore the lot they have been through. The lot they have gone through this in Trump's regime. Because Trump has done what he was said that he will do. Because Trump told them that he will deport everybody in America that doesn't have the documents. That's the immigrants. And mind you, farmers, they rely mostly on the labor that are immigrants. So if they do this and they call out they call out each other about voting red, they knew what they are doing. So I don't want to see Americans saying that they are not expecting Trump to do this. They didn't vote for this. They were the one who voted for this. And Trump is making them see that what they really did to destroy their lives. Okay, so American people are really into this mess, and they are now regretting voting for Trump because of the poverty. They're now losing everything. They're losing jobs, losing businesses. They're losing even homes. They're losing even lands. And if it reaches to a point where you can lose a land, lose life, then there's no point of living. They're tired of this whole thing. They don't want to be in this mess. They don't want to be in this whole mess. They want somebody to come out there and at least hold them the hand. And who will do that? Maybe black people. Guess what? They are quiet about everything. And they are asking, why are black people so quiet about this whole thing? America needs to wake up. Not because somebody is white, he will do the best for you. You know, when Americans were voting red, they knew that Trump would punish black people. But guess what? They are the one who can't bear the pain today. So white people are going bankrupt. There's bankruptcy in America. And nobody is taking it easily. Honestly speaking, nobody is taking it easily. People are not taking these whole things easily. The world is changing, the world is growing, but people are now awakening that people have to know the value of some warnings. They have to listen to the people when they warn them. And yeah, that's how it is. Tell me in the comments. Do you feel like American people are are the one who can be out here standing and crying about the hardship in America? Really? Can they be doing that? Peace out. I love you.